only a few paragraphs of dialogue, right? But man, every single syllable here is crafted to evoke just absolute dread. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to deconstruct the incredibly dense, intensely foreboding text from the new Avengers Doomsday teaser. We really need to figure out exactly what psychological state our heroes are in right now, because it is not looking good. Something's coming. Just let that short quote hang in the air for a second. It's exactly how the text kicks off. There's no grand exposition here, no complicated backstory to ease us in, just two words that instantly establish this heavy, heavy cinematic atmosphere and a genuinely paralyzing existential dread. It's basically the ultimate statement of inevitability. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, an unstoppable threat approaches. We're analyzing that opening dread. The dialogue drops us right into an unavoidable, impending crisis. I want you to focus intensely on that word, deter. To deter means to discourage someone from doing something by instilling doubt or, fear of the consequences. Think about our heroes for a second. These are characters who have literally fought gods, aliens, and time-traveling conquerors, and yet they are openly admitting that their usual methods of intimidation and force are completely useless here. I mean, what kind of threat makes these usually confident, incredibly powerful figures admit potential defeat right out of the gate? The psychological armor is already cracking, and the fight hasn't even started yet. And that brings us directly to the sheer scale of this crisis. The speaker notes that before this day is done, they're going to be faced with an unthinkable decision. Now, the literal definition of unthinkable is a situation so dire it defies logical comprehension or even acceptable moral boundaries. So they aren't just facing a tough battle here. They are facing a scenario that will force them to cross lines they probably never thought they would cross. It's a boundary-pushing scale of conflict. Basically, all the old rules of heroism, they're about to be thrown completely out the window. Moving on to Section 2, weight of past sacrifices, the historical precedent. Notice how the text suddenly downshifts here into a much more sobering reflection. I've fought with many warriors in my time. This establishes immediate authority. We really have to analyze the speaker's veteran status here. This is not some rookie panicking at their very first glimpse of danger. No, this is the calculated, bone-deep dread of a survivor. This is someone who has lived through countless wars, stood shoulder to shoulder with titans, and actually has a terrifying frame of reference for what a true threat looks like. And this brilliantly illustrates how completely outmatched they are. It's almost mathematical. The past warriors are described as being far stronger than all of us put together, yet the enemies those past titans faced scared the speaker far less than this current threat. The escalation here is undeniable, guys. The current roster of heroes is fundamentally, terrifyingly outmatched. And they died. There is absolutely no flowery language there, no softening the blow. Those incredibly strong heroes from the past, they died, facing lesser threats. It establishes absolute, fatal stakes being communicated to whoever is listening. Which brings us to the emotional manipulation. And honestly, I mean that in the best, most desperate tactical sense happening in the text right now. Everything that they sacrificed will be for nothing. The speaker is using the incredibly heavy guilt of past sacrifices as an emotional lever. It's a tactical way to compel the current heroes into immediate action. It's essentially telling them, hey, if you fail now, you aren't just losing the future, you are actively erasing the heroism of the past. Let's look at Section 3. The call for unity, and the absolute requirement of brotherhood. So that guilt trip acts as a super urgent call to action, outlining 4 completely non-negotiable survival directives. First, stand together. Second, put aside petty squabbles. Third, presume nothing. And fourth, return as brothers and sisters. What is so fascinating to me here is how the speaker formats this highly emotional desperation into a very strict tactical survival plan. There is literally no room for debate. These aren't suggestions, these are the absolute prerequisites for merely having a fighting chance. Notice the stark contrast in language here too. We jump from petty squabbles all the way to brothers and sisters. This emphasizes just how completely irrelevant all their old arguments, their civil wars, and their ego-driven conflicts have actually become. In the face of a literal apocalypse, anything short of absolute blood-tie brotherhood is just a death sentence. But even with perfect unity, there are no guarantees. So the crucial point is right here. If you return. Not when, if. It's an incredibly deliberate choice of a word that underscores that survival is a very, very slim possibility. It completely strips away any remaining cinematic invincibility these characters might have felt. Which brings us to the final stretch, Section 4, The impossible miracle, the paradoxical climax. The monologue reaches its peak desperation here, crashing headfirst into the finale. But mark my words, we're going to need a miracle. This completely strips away all tactical hope. You can stand together, you can act as brothers and sisters, you can put aside all your squabbles, but none of that is actually enough. The survival of reality itself is now entirely dependent on the literal impossible happening. And then, the text just shatters. Hey, pal. Feel that sudden stark shift in tone? After swimming in all this heavy Shakespearean dread about the unthinkable and past sacrifices, the tension is instantly punctured by this casual, almost mocking, two-word greeting. It is completely jarring. Which directly triggers the final reaction we get in the transcript. It's not possible. The sheer disbelief in this statement is palpable. The speaker literally just said they needed a miracle, an impossibility to survive. But then, when that impossibility actually materializes and answers the call, the human mind just rejects it entirely. Which leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? If this battle-hardened veteran looks at this arrival and declares that it is not possible, who just walked in? Who is the miracle? Or perhaps, who is the threat? I'll leave you to sit with that mystery until December 18th. Keep questioning what you see.